Unless, I'm gonna go with the Pulse as a secondary
Ooh,
defender
okay.
because
Swapping it
I want to
up.
switch it up. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well, I guess not
go.
tonight. Everyone's banned Pulse tonight, but you know what I mean.
No, no, 100%. Glaz. All right, I was
You
right
got the
with the
Maverick.
Maverick. Let me go for Glaz then. Come on.
Yeah, I can agree with Glass. I think that's gonna happen.
All right.
They banned it fast, whatever it is.
Yeah, they know what they don't like. That's for sure.
Jackal.
Ooh,
Okay.
Jackal. Okay, okay, fair enough.
It's definitely a pretty roam heavy map. Again, a lot of rooms for the defense. It's a big map, and it's a big map with a lot of rooms, so Jackal can definitely thrive in that sort of environment. Next ban is going to be a defender ban, and it looks like it's Arbad's ban. And it's going to be Kaid. Interesting, I like
Interesting.
that. Yeah. Because Kaid is definitely more dynamic than something like a bandit, even though it's harder to trick as Kaid and you only get two. It's definitely easier to hide it from a Maverick, and it's actually going to be Echo, so Mira is on the board. We're probably going to see a lot of that in the aviation site.
All right, we did real bad on betting on these operator
You
bans. I
got the
got
Maverick,
one,
so you
you
win. You
got
still
0.
win, yeah.
I'll take those. Round number 1, we're coming on in. Crater can quiet. Aviator Games is going to be our first bomb site, and that makes a lot of sense. Aviator Games is the one where we generally like to see teams go for the very first round. It's nice and easy to defend on. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing unexpected I'm seeing right now.
Yep, and Pulse, I expected a Pulse ban because I think everyone knows this by now, but Villa was designed as a map to. Never mind, there's six picking off of it, but I'm going to finish my thought anyway. Villa was a map that was designed where every single part of the floor, except for like stairs, is breakable between the first and second floor. So, what better spot for a Pulse? But it doesn't look like they're going to go for it. Probably because roam clearing the bottom half of the map is actually not super hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think Pulse players might be a little bit worried that they'll get flushed out really easily and they won't be able to make those sorts of plays happen. And if you can't get the up from the floor C4, Pulse doesn't really have any spots that he can just sit and give his team tons of information like you would on the basement of Bank, for instance.
And I really like the fact that they at least flashed the pulse, right? They showed it off because a lot of time you're attacking into this bomb site, you're not really expecting people to play downstairs. So if you're right, if nobody's playing downstairs, you'll check it, but you're maybe not going to go super hard for it. Now, if you think there's going to be a pulse, you're pretty sure somebody's going to be playing downstairs. So you're going to take a lot of time trying to clear out that bottom floor. Spades is still going to go down there, but this time he's playing on the vigil. So they're going to waste their time trying to get him. Maybe he's playing up top now. But there's still going to be a lot of clear, right? A lot of effort being put towards the attackers to try to clear out that bottom floor, more than likely, unless they've already figured out that there's no pulse on the board. But until they realize that, they're going to be a little bit worried about that bottom floor, and they're going to have to take their time with it.
Definitely takes a lot of presence of mind for the attackers to be able to spot this difference. Unless they
Mm-hmm.
call out every single defender there is, they have to remember like which operators there were and sort of process of elimination it. Like, oh, we didn't see a vigil and we see one now, so that's a sixth pick, but which sixth pick was it? So you have to figure out
Yeah.
everyone else anyway. So it can be pretty tough, and we will be seeing a first floor sort of focus on the attackers here, as Tuffy is going to just barely miss the shot onto Modiga. They're going to trade shots back and forth, but I think the Jaeger is just going to back off. Yeah, that's the smart decision, because this, even if you were to get the kill if you peeked out, backing off and living to fight another day wastes a lot more time for the attackers.
Yeah, 100%. It's not about getting kills always as a roamer. It's just staying alive and wasting time. That's really what your goal is as a roamer. You don't have to go and get all these kills. If you waste a lot of time, you've basically done your job, especially if you're living after all of that time wasted. Yet he gets completely blinded, and we'll see if there's any aggression on him. Doesn't look like there was any. He's going to be still safe despite the fact that he cannot see, and I'm sure he's worn off by now. You still see a lot of the attackers starting to get in. It's going to be Evil Waffle who opens up this game. Slightly uncharacteristic, and it'll be Tuffy who trades it with another one, Spades, going down. So not the operators or not the players you usually see popping off from the sides of Disrupt Gaming, yet you come around and you do expect him to pop off. Mo as well. Reed, everybody's getting kills over on the side of DG. We'll leave just Tuffy left alive, and only Spades doesn't have a kill. He will not get one because he's already in the grave, but one of these other players is very likely to find a frag grenade will be tossed out, and a great throw. Always funny when the Jaeger dies to a frag grenade. He has that utility, but it doesn't matter because Evil Waffle there coming in with a 2K, able to shut that round down and give it to Disrupt.
Yeah, a lot of that ended up being our bad sort of rushing in before they really had anything set up. They were taking 1v1 gunfights, but weren't prepared to trade them out. And when you're playing a site like the aviation, that's a site where you can't really get too much ground inside before you're on site. You can there are like two rooms you can get. You can get the hallway that connects the stairs between the trophy room sites and the aviation sites, but that's about it. The rest of them you have to play on sort of balcony or the windows, and I don't think they were set into position yet. Tuffy was still trying to flush out the Jaeger that entire time while his team was pushing forward. He couldn't put any vertical pressure down because he was trying to kill the Jaeger, and nobody decided to go down and help Tuffy, and they decided to push even though he didn't uproot any of the defender positions. So our bad just ended up walking into a lot of danger.
Great vertical play for sure on the side of Disrupt Gaming, and a pretty dominant first round to start things off. Should mention, of course, we're on Villa and they're on defense, and this is a pretty defensor-sided map. So probably the most defensive-sided map in the game. I don't know the stats on that in front of me, but it feels like it at the very least. And so this is likely going to tilt in favor of DG very heavily at the start. If our bad can even get like 2 or 3 rounds, I think they can work with that. Certainly once they go to the half swap. We should note that this is elimination. If our bad lose this game, they are 100% out of playoffs. So playing for their lives right now is our bad. And again, DG put themselves in a really good spot. A lot of things would have to go wrong for DG if they win this matchup for them to not make playoffs. It's a tough spot for them to find themselves in should they lose that. But yes, if this match goes in favor of Disrupt Gaming, our bad will be eliminated. That's the big part here, and Tuffy's making sure that that is as unlikely as possible. Another opening kill onto Spades. Very uncharacteristic of Spades, although we're only 2 rounds in.
And that is, once again, the roam clear working out. Or this time it's working out. Last time it didn't work out so well. So Tuffy gets that peace of mind at first, but there is still Modiga. He's on Jaeger, but he's actually playing on site this time around. Or not on site, but on the still on the top floor instead of the bottom floor. Evil Waffle's actually the one who's playing downstairs. So he'll be a thorn in the attacker's side should they challenge him at all. And one goes down. Beastly picks up the kill. Kill confirmed. Evil Waffle off the board. And Yeti off the board too. Euphoria takes him out. Now it leaves us with a 5v2. So many resources committed off-site, and almost all of them have already gone down. Mo gets taken down as well, and now Carnage with the last kill. That was a clean win by our bad.
Yeah, they look like a steamroller charging through this map. Perfect round for them. They keep all 5 alive, and Carnage gets credit for that last one. And you blinked, you would have missed it, because that's very, very uncharacteristic of Villa for the attackers to get in, especially on a bomb site like Trophy Stature. It's not even like we're forced to the first floor or anything yet, and this is like the 3rd round or something. No, this is a bomb site that still the defenders can be pretty comfortable on. So interesting that they would not be able to hold this one down. I think that Disrupt Gaming hopefully have some stuff to fix about that last round. They are going to choose to go back here. This time Spades is going to be playing on the dock. And again, I think he's a character who really needs to step up on the side of Disrupt Gaming, because 2 rounds in a row, he's been the opening pick. And you look historically, I mean, he's has amazing stats. He's got a 1.25 rating. He's got an average kills per round of over 1, right? 1.02. That might not sound impressive, but he's the only player in the league to have that, right? It's not an easy task to average a kill a round. And so right now he's averaging a whole fat 0 kills per round. And I think he needs to step up if Disrupt Gaming don't want more rounds like that to happen.
Absolutely, and getting picked first also means that he's very likely just out of position. Maybe he's taking too many aggressive fights, or maybe he's just trying to rotate back to site after setting up, or rotating to some place that he's going to set up after clearing off the site. But overall, it just seems like he's not at the right place at the right time. I'm not sure quite yet if that's a strategy sort of fault on the side of Disrupt Gaming. We haven't necessarily been there to see too many of Spade's deaths, but it's definitely something that he wants to be more careful of. And I think on this dock, I imagine he's going to start playing a little bit safer, a little bit farther back on site. And last round, Disrupt put, I think, 3 or 4 people on the aviation side of the map, and it just didn't work out for them. This time it seems like they're sort of giving that map control up, but at the same time, it's not super significant map control. Like, it's not like you're giving up server on bank. You can afford
Right.
this much space and still have your anchors do great work.
A lot of credit to Tuffy as well. On the roam clear, able to find kills on a spades a couple of times now. A throwable for a throwable. Looks like the C4 almost lands its mark on a Tuffy. About half the damage gone. And he thinks twice before sending a frag grenade back the other direction. Gonna keep it in his pocket instead and just back off, wait for a better time to utilize it. Yet he trying to challenge on this window. If he had aimed a little bit lower, he might have been able to find the head of Cali, but either way, that's not how it goes down. So he will not get a kill, and he will live today. They really want to challenge this window. Cali, he needs to be careful taking these gunfights. There's two guys on the other side of things. Yeti's just going to hop on out. An interesting strategy. I don't know if I can back it up, and there's not even a trade because the other player sitting inside is not going to be able to capitalize off of Cali being so low. So interesting jump out spot.
Yeah, definitely a miscommunication too, because Modiga, we saw it on our screen, but he was clearly reloading as soon as that jump out happened. And so if there was just a call out, say, hey, I'm reloading, then that could have prevented that entire situation from happening. But as a result, we see Yeti off the board. Spades starts showing up. He gets a headshot on a Carnage, and it seems like he's playing that hot roaming Doc. So we'll see if there's any other surprises he can make. Reed, with an aggressive peek onto Cali, takes him out as well. Down to a 3v4, and now Disrupt are back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they're liking where they're at right now. They just gotta hold on for 1 minute more. And of course, you take the Nomad off the board, you take the Thatcher as well. Two great operators. Fair bit of utility on both of those guys. I don't know how much of those Nomad charges had been used, but either way, that's a good gun off the board, and so you're happy with that. We'll see the three remaining players start to push in onto this bomb site. 45 seconds, so they really need to start putting the pedal to the metal. They do have that diffuser, so Euphoria is going to hold on to that as tight as he can, playing on the Zofia. And he'll go for the plant. They're actually already in the sites, and so this is going to be put onto DG to be able to stop this. Do they have any idea? I don't believe they do, because that's a successful plant. There's no response from DG. Now they're going to have to go for the retake. Beastly outside going for the reload. And Smo going for the runouts? He certainly could. His teammate, though, Reed, has been down. It looks like he's healed back up by Spades, though, so he'll be A-okay to get back into this fight. Beastly, a great shot onto Reed. Euphoria with another one. They're putting the player advantage back in their favor, but it's a runner from Mo. He's going to be able to get one, but is it going to matter? There's still two players left alive, and all of his team are down. Mo needs to get 2 kills and then get this disabled. Not an easy task, and it's Tuffy and Euphoria on the other side of things. Tuffy's been having a hell of a game in just 2 rounds. Mo needs to be able to shut him down here, and he shuts him down now, but he won't even be able to get past Euphoria. It's Arbad with their 3rd round.
The Arbad showed up beautifully with their drone play, their information game, and their shot calling. So they realized that pretty much everyone from Disrupt was holding very close. They were holding toward the bathroom side, near Astronomy, near Master Bedroom, and they realized that there was nobody watching over toward the far side of Statuary, and so they just ran in, got the defuser down for free. So beautiful job droning that out, having the information, and whoever made that call was very good too, because if even one person on the side of Not Bad decided to peek one of those angles that was being held and didn't rotate around with the rest of their team, there was a good chance that they would have died, and then after that death, Disrupt would have said, okay, now's our time to rotate, and they might have started to notice that the plant was going down. So I just really like that overall macro gameplay from Arbad, which is something that we've been sort of missing from them in the past, for the past while. Like, Arbad has been getting a bunch of close games over the course of the season, but they haven't really been able to close many out. This might actually be one of the first ones that they do.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting contrast. If you look at Arbad versus the other team who's sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard right now in Challenger League, Sills Gorillas, because both these two teams have struggled quite a bit finding wins, but I think they're very different in terms of play styles. You look at Sills Gorillas, and their strength is in their individual play. They've got a lot of individual skill. They can win these gunfights. They're just maybe lacking that coordination. Arbad are sort of the opposite, right? Where they have a really coordinated core. The way they work together can actually be really effective sometimes, and as you mentioned, like, their information game can really be on point. Sometimes they just don't have those players who really pop off like they do on the side of Sills Gorillas or a lot of the other teams here in Challenger League. Carnage can occasionally have his moments, but he's not as consistent as I would like him to be, and a couple of their players just don't hit the shots that they always need to be hitting. So it's interesting, you know, the difference in play styles between the lower level teams and how faults in either area can result in a little bit poorer of a record than you might want.
Yeah, and if you especially compare that to Disrupt, where they have fraggers like Spades and Yeti, and those are names that are very tough to head into, and it seems like that round specifically, Arbad decided to fight that sort of really strong gun game with just doubling down on the information outplays and the rotations, which is something that's really cool to see in Siege, how different teams can succeed with different playstyles.
Oh, and Tuffy holding an angle here. Is he going to get rewarded for it? That's the question. Mo's trying to play it on the other side of things. Neither person's gotten aggressive enough to actually land a kill yet. A couple of shots being thrown both ways. Tuffy now rotating to the left-hand side of that doorway. Mo not likely to know that, and he's going to get punished for it. Can't flick in time, and he's going to lose that gunfight. Tuffy with 25 HP comes out on the top. At the same time, though, his teammate did go down, so with Carnage falling, that makes it a 4-on-4. Yeti, a great shot down the hallway, puts Beastly to bed. And now we're back to a 3-on-4, and that was the Hard Breacher taken down. I don't know if he was able to actually use any of those X-Kairos before he went off. It looks like a couple of them were used here, but only to open up a little bit of a window. That is not going to be anything you can actually enter through, so they're going to have to be forced to actually just walk in through these doors like normal, because that is all of their hard destruction off of the board, not bringing in a Thermite.
Yeah, the fact that they don't have a Thermite isn't super rare on this map, considering Hibana is usually the choice that teams make because impact tricks are so popular and you can at least take out the bottom row. But not having one is going to hurt them here. Instant attempt to revive, but Tuffy is just too fast on the trigger. Gets the grenade to down and the kill confirmed with his gun. Tuffy gets a second one as well. It's a headshot onto Spades, no less. Evil Waffle trades one back, but Euphoria kills Reed as well. Leaves us with a 2v1. Evil has the health advantage and he's playing smoke. Euphoria goes down off of one tick, and Tuffy is just about one, maybe two ticks away from dying himself. We'll see if there's anything he can do at this point. One remote gas canister left. He's going to toss it out to try to confirm the kill, but Euphoria has already gotten himself back up. That is one of the strengths of Zofia, and that is the end of the round for Disrupt.
You know, coming into this playday, I think Tuffy and Euphoria, probably the two players I think, like, they're a little bit more irrelevant in my mind when you talk about Arabad. Like, when I think about this team, I'm thinking about Beastly, I'm thinking about Kali, I'm thinking about Carnage, but those two players, I mean, they've really been the stars this matchup. And of course, in that round, being the last two players left alive, in the round previous, also being the last two players left alive, and Tuffy in particular has been having a crazy game, and that's another, you know, thing relating back to this team is they don't have one individual player who pops off every single game. It's really a team effort, and I think this core works together so well that they can have people who have different on days, different off days, and overall they haven't looked as strong as some of the other teams, and I think that's why they're still pretty far down on that scoreboard. But I think it's great to see all members of the team showing up in different times, and no matter who it is, they're able to make games close. They're able to still take it to the opponent. Tuffy 8-1 right now. I mean, that's a great scoreline, right? That's where we saw Spades at in their last matchup today.
Yeah, so even though they're not forced to, Disrupt actually decided to go down to Kitchen. So they've only won one round so far, and it was one of the first rounds of this match. So they are absolutely not locked out from these the top floor bomb sites. This is going to be an interesting hold for them. They have brought a Maestro, which is going to help them out quite a bit, and a Castle, who of course is going to block off some of those extra angles and rotations that the attackers could pull, but I still think that even with the whole idea of catching your opponents off guard, I think the top two sites are just still better, even if you account for that, than these downstairs sites.
You do have to think about the fact that they've lost Trophy twice and then they lost Aviator once. So maybe they're just not feeling confident on the top floor, which is a little bit worrying because, as you mentioned, those are the bomb sites that the Defenders are supposed to be doing really well on. So yeah, I might be a little concerned. You might also say that, oh, they're just flexible. They're confident on their first floor holds, and it's tough to say which one it is without actually being a part of the team. So I guess we'll have to see. If they win this one really dominantly, then we can certainly conclude that it was more of a confidence thing. Not too worried about which bomb site is meta. They feel like they can play all of them. That's fine too. Just has yet to be seen. 2 minutes left to go in this round, and the attackers have gotten a fair amount of room on this top floor.
Yep, but some of it's going to be denied as Yeti gets a C4 onto Euphoria. And so that helps the defenders out a little bit, and finally Disrupt are ahead in one of their rounds. So that is Zofia off the board. A little bit of utility, pretty decent gun as well, but it's at least better than losing Actually, I would probably rather lose her than any other member of the team. You got your Hard Breach, you have Thatcher, Nomad, Buck with the frag grenades. Those are all really substantial operators. So I guess out of anyone to lose, that's probably it. But as you were mentioning before, Euphoria has been showing up this round, and his stats have been pretty good all season, too. He's I can check real quick. He's sitting at a 1.3
Ooh.
KD, which is nothing to laugh at.
Certainly not, and we've got a little bit of engagement going down, playing around the hatches. That's Tuffy, again, seeing his name quite a bit, tearing up these floorboards, finding himself in a bit of a gunfight, but again, nobody goes down. A lot of damage on Yeti, a lot of damage down onto Spade, and so those are, again, probably the two biggest fraggers on the side of Disrupt Gaming, being at very little HP. It's hard to win a gunfight when you don't have a lot of health. Certainly they can still hit the headshots, but it makes it more difficult in case you only get hit on body shots. So we'll see. Still 5-on-4. They still have that player advantage. Health, though, not going in their favor. Tuffy's going to start to do even more soft destruction as these walls get opened up. Time, though, continues to tick on down. And if you're DG, 5 players alive with 40 seconds, I mean, that's never going to be a bad spot for the defenders, right? In any situation, you're happy about that because the attackers are going to be forced to rush in. They're going to be forced to walk into your angles. And you've got so many bodies alive that you should be able to cover more or less all of them. So we'll see Callie, one of these attackers who wants to walk on into the kitchen. He's in the pantry right now, and even Waffle a little bit slow on the reaction speed. Callie takes advantage and evens out the numbers. 4-on-4 here. Still walking forward. Callie's going to get another one. Yes, he is. Yet he falls. However, third, Reed will go down, and Carnage at the same time falling means that he's only got one teammate to work with, 25 HP too. Beastly's going to start off with his plants as soon as he has a position that he likes. 5 seconds. He's going to have to decide quickly. There he goes. Has found one. Mo is going to try to soft this if he can. He'll take down Beastly. Now he'll need the ace, and Callie gets a 4K, but it's not going to be enough. Mo is there, and Mo will finally get around to stop this momentum and put a second one on the board for DG.
I think we can easily say that Disrupt made a good choice going down to the first floor, because it wasn't even one of those times where you go down to the first floor and win by happenstance. It was, in terms of the strategy, Disrupt was in clear victory that round. They performed very well. Arbad was, they honestly looked pretty lost on their attack. They didn't know where to attack from. They didn't know which angles to set up. It was basically the only reason that round was close was Callie just clutched out with frag after frag after frag, and that's not something you want to rely on. But it also shows us that Disrupt are much more prepared to play those downstairs sites than Arbad was.
I'll mention it again. Callie with 2 aces last week, almost getting a third one here today. But yes, no, I mean, holding downstairs, very, very useful for Disrupt Gaming. And it's good to have strategies on all bomb sites, right? And it's good to be confident in those strategies so that you can do this, right? When you're in a position where the simple strats, they just aren't working, right? Top floor control just isn't working for you. It's good to be able to swap it up. They're going to try it again. Aviator Games is here. They're going to be their next choice. And of course, this is the other bomb site that they've won today. They defended it in round number 1, failed in round number 4, now round 6. Here we are. They will try it again. And so, yeah, I'd like to see them be able to do this and hold it down decisively. Because if you're holding defensively on Villa and you go down 4-2 into the half swap, now you have to attack and you have to get that many rounds. This is a pretty defensive-sided map, and even at this point, right, with only 3 attacking rounds, you gotta be feeling really good if you're Arbad, because we've seen plenty of good teams get 0 rounds attacking on this map, or 1 round, and it's so tough for a lot of teams, and Challenger League and also Pro League, some of the lower levels, people just really struggle attacking here, and so I think Arbad are feeling really, really good right now.
It's especially telling, seeing as Disrupt, they lost twice on Trophy Room.
Yeah,
and that's one of the ones that defenders should definitely be winning. Both of the upstairs sites are. They took it downstairs. They won that. Kudos to them. But overall, it just doesn't speak well to their chances on this map in particular. Of course, we still have to see Arbad's defense and whether or not they can do anything on their side. Reed almost finding the shots. Tuffy down to just about 2 health. But so far, nothing is going to happen. Preps a grenade, but Reed is sitting on top of the bar, so even a grenade perfectly cooked will not do anything against him. He has gotten off of it, however, and Tuffy's going to try again, but he picks the wrong spot, and Reed is backed into a corner here. He will manage to rotate out toward the safe, and that's going to be it for that.
Just going for something lucky, unfortunately didn't land for him. You could argue he probably should have held on to that, but you wouldn't be arguing that if he had hit it, so it's a gamble, it doesn't pay off. What are you going to do? It's not the end of the world losing 1 grenade. We'll continue to see them play out with all 10 players still alive in the server as we meet that 1 minute 20 mark. couple of these attackers starting to make their way in towards the classic hall. It is Yeti playing on the other side of things, and Reed and Tuffy both going to exchange, one with a gun, one with a grenade. And so it looks like that second frag grenade did find its mark, and he found use for it. Taking out Reed's going to be really important, because that was the guy who he's challenging up on top above him, and that's also the bandit in case he was going for any sort of a tricking possible on this map, on this bomb site. But sometimes you just see him place it down, and that's fine too. Yet he worried about this window that he's watching right now, but there is nobody on the other side of it, so he doesn't need to be too worried here. 45 seconds. That's what the attackers should be worried about. This clock is not favoring them, and now Carnage starting to peek around this window. Now Yeti has to be worried about it. If he gets blinded, it's going to be really hard to win that gunfight. A couple of grenades getting thrown in on all sides, and it's going to be an impact to deny those Hibana X Kairos charges. That's really important. Still trying to win the gunfight, but Yeti, again, you don't need to win that. You just got to waste time. The attackers really got to get going sooner rather than later. 20 seconds on the clock, and still 8 players in the server. Carnage makes it 7. Yeti's going to go down. Mo makes it 6. 3-on-3. We continue to stay at an even player count. 12 seconds to go. The defenders just got to hold on for a couple seconds more, but Beastly's not going to make that the easiest thing in the world. It's going to be all on to Mo and Evil Waffle. Euphoria has almost a great opportunity to take down Mo, but he just can't land the last shot that he needs. Beastly with 0 seconds on the clock starts this defuse. Carnage is going to take down Evil Waffle. Mo just needs to stop the planter, but he doesn't know where it is. It's in the other room. He can't deny it from behind the bar, and now with a sliver of HP, he is in a terrible position. He's going to need the best clutch of the game. I don't know if it's going to be possible for him with so little HP. He's creeping around. They don't know where he's at, or do they? He's making a bit of noise. He's kicking up a lot of wood. He'll get the first kill on the Carnage, but now his position's been revealed. Again, any bullet from any gun will shut him down. This is so difficult. Half the time on that diffuser has gone off, so it's still Euphoria and Beastly on the other side of things. And Mo will go for a jog. Knows he doesn't have a lot of time. He's firing his gun off. They know where he's at. Just needs to take this 1v1, and he needs to win it. Euphoria just has to stall out, and eventually Mo will get taken out, and Arbad clean up round number 6. What a scoreline attacking on Villa.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a crazy scoreline, and I can't fault Modiga at the end. He tried to use the flashbangs against the attackers and use that sound cover to rotate out and get the sprint down, but unfortunately he just didn't hit the shots, and at that point everyone knows where he is, so they were able to turn on him and watch that path because they knew there wasn't enough time left for him to rotate all the way back around to the other side. So really tough spot for him to be in, but overall we do have to commend Arbad for the way they've been attacking a lot of these sites. That attack specifically, they took control of basically everything they needed. We had, who was it? I think it was Carnage on the rappel outside of 90. Even if he didn't get the kill onto the Maestro, he denied the Maestro from ever peeking around that corner, and that allowed both the Hibana and the Zofia to push around through that hallway and get a lot of extra control over the billiards room. So I think overall they played that attack very well. They covered for each other. They made sure that they cut off rotations from the defenders. I really like this sort of this style by Arbad, where they are very calculated and they support each other in everything.
So we've talked a lot during this game about bomb sites and about how generally we like defenders going up top first. That's usually where they want to stay. But we actually see Living Room Library being brought out by Arbad for their first defense, and this is a really interesting pick, and it's not that uncommon. We saw, if you can look at Pro League a couple of weeks back, Rise Nation played this bomb site, and they said that it's really good versus teams because a lot of teams haven't thought a lot about attacking this, right? So they still can struggle, and so in that situation it can be really good. I believe it was Sills Gorillas earlier on as well, who also were successfully defending this bomb site a couple of times when they were here against Toon Squad. So we see it every now and again, but certainly it is a bit of an unusual pick, and if the attacking team doesn't know how to attack this, if they aren't comfortable on it, if they haven't really practiced it, the defenders actually have a pretty good chance here.
And by all means, Villa is still, in the grand scheme of things, a somewhat new map.
Yeah.
And so there are still a lot of strategies that we haven't seen, especially when it comes down to these the first floor sites, because for the longest time everyone played the top floor sites every time. So teams just have not had a lot of practice down here. But it looks like it will be a very vertically focused defense for the side of Arbad, as they have 2 people stocked up here in game room. One has shotguns and the other one has impact grenades, so they are ready to tear open the floor whenever they need it. The Evil Waffle and Yeti are going to be tasked with flushing them out. Spades takes about half of his health in damage over by Astronomy, but nothing is going to come from that trade so far. Meanwhile, Carnage is moving around the rest of the map, trying to see what he can do as a roamer, and I really like this sort of spread out defense by Arbad. They're making Disrupt constantly guess where they are, and they're wasting a lot of time.
Half the time, to be exact, because we're a minute 30 into the round, and there are 10 players still alive in this matchup. Spades about half of his HP gone, and he's been a little bit quiet this game. Currently sitting at 2 kills. Well, Mo Digga will jump up to 9. He's the top fragger for them at the moment, and Spades stays at 2. Carnage finding the kill on the him. Means we're 4-4. Carnage a little bit caught off guard. There's somebody inside of the other room, and it's going to be Reed who hits those headshots. He's got the highest headshot percentage of anybody in the league right now because he's still pushing in. Is the Ash, and Yeti does not care who might be in this room. He's going to walk in and frag all of them, brings out the pistol. This player in the room is not even paying attention to him. Euphoria maybe should have paid a little bit more attention to the Ash just waltzing on in. Either way, the headshot comes out from the pistol, and they put Beastly into a 1-on-4 situation. And sometimes it seems like going to these offsites doesn't really work out for you. It's going to be Beastly in a 1-on-4 clutch situation. And again, it's a situation where it seems like these guys do know how to attack. For Disrupt Gaming, they've got so much experience on their roster. You expect them to have prepped this stuff. You expect them to do their homework. It's a team who very likely, or have a really good chance of making it into Pro League next season. They're certainly going to be one of the favorites to make it that far. Beastly's going to get blinded now in this situation, and so the plant's going down. He gets the first one on a read, and so he's already found 1 kill this game. He won't find any more, and he will shut down by Yeti. So great round by Yeti. Disrupt Gaming take round number 7, and they're still in this game.
It's always tough sometimes as a shoutcaster with rounds like these where a lot of times you really want to break down a lot of what happened in terms of strategy, but sometimes it's just someone went full Ash mode and just pushed into the site where they had no business pushing into and just finds the frags anyway. And unfortunately, Euphoria just didn't notice the Ash. There should have been a call out on it for sure. That Ash pushed in behind bar because someone died by a headshot from the Ash behind bars. So miscommunications across the board for Arbad and Disrupt with a lot of good gun skill. You mentioned before Reed finding the headshot very easily as he finds them throughout the entire season, and we have to certainly commend them for a lot of their play with these individual plays. And I think even though I can't really spot a single point where Arbad's setup was bad, it just seemed like they were too spread out is probably what I'd have to say. Their roamers couldn't really help each other out or anything like that, aside from the 2 people in bar, but that didn't really seem to make too much of a difference, as Euphoria did not notice the Ash either.
I mean, that's really unfortunate. I don't know what the communication issues were there for Euphoria. I think he was in another gunfight, so like, I guess he was focused on that, but Yeti definitely could have been shut down because he'd missed a couple of shots. If Euphoria had just turned around, he probably could have gotten that kill. Oh well, it doesn't happen that way, and full credit to Yeti because he has been, over the course of the season, one of the best players that we've seen consistently on these fragging roles, and so he's a guy you can never count out. When you talk about the best fraggers over on the side of DG, you do talk about Spades a lot, but Spades hasn't typically been their like entry guy. He's never really the guy up front. He's more the dude staying alive, sitting back. Like, he's gonna get those 2nd and 3rd kills of the round, right? He's not anchoring per se, but he's usually not the most aggressive player. He's the guy sort of holding the team together. He's doing a lot of shot calling, I know. And so either way, like, he's in there getting kills, but he's not the opener. And when we see him not performing, especially in this game today, he's been doing a lot of this open stuff, right? Where he's the first one to die. A couple of rounds here, he's been the opening frag, caught off guard on the roam. And so I think as long as he's sticking to this more of a passive role, if he's letting Yeti go first, if he's letting Mo go first and get these kills, I think that their playstyle can work really well on the side of Disrupt Gaming. But we have yet to see the full result of this playstyle swap up, and Carnage maybe gonna get a little bit more of reputation behind my theory. Excuse me.
Yeah, and Yeti actually gets taken down too, as Tuffy just manages to find him, and Yeti doesn't really respond too much to getting shot in the back, and unfortunately, that means that Disrupt are already 2 men down. This site over on Arbad, they went back up to game room. Mo Digga with a beautiful flick onto Beastly, gets the headshot, but Euphoria trades it out with a headshot of his own. 4v2 now. The Pulse is still downstairs, and that is something you definitely would need to watch out for. as Stuffy picks off one, and Euphoria gets a headshot, second one of the round for him, and Arbad just clean up this defense, going back to a very standard site.
Some of these rounds just look so dominant for Arbad. You see when DG win rounds, I mean, that last one was pretty dominant, but some of the earlier ones, you know, they were just a little bit, I mean, they were pretty close, right? They're winning the gunfights, and I think in terms of fragging potential, DG certainly have the advantage. And so if Mo's popping off or if Yeti's popping off, those are the rounds that DG are winning. But when it comes down to just basic Siege, when everybody's sort of playing standard, when these setups go up against one another, when the attack beats the defense, it seems like more often than not, Arbad are actually getting the better of things. So with that really nice rounds, I don't think it was quite perfect, but still very dominant round by them. They will move on to 5-3 scoreline, and one more here, they will put themselves on a match point and ensure, well, actually, if they tie here, are they still out? I believe they are. So I believe they need the win in order to not be eliminated. Yeah, so they're not safe if they win this next round, but they just need 2 more, and then they are safe.
Yep, still in contention for playoffs, and with the form they've been having recently, again, we mentioned this at the very start of the day, but Arbad actually went 2-0 last week. So they won both of their games. They're looking on an upswing, and it seems like it's going to continue as they are 5-3 up against the second place team in the league on Villa. So it's very... I also think it's sort of weird that Disrupt would actually take Arbad to Villa, considering Villa is one of those maps that is definitely pretty strat heavy. There's a lot of roaming potential, but the roaming still has to fit into your strats sometimes, and just gun skill won't get you through this map as much as it would a map like Oregon or Border.
It's interesting, especially because Arbad have avoided this, or sorry, Disrupt Gaming have avoided this map throughout the season so often. They banned it 4 times and they've yet to play it. So it is certainly curious that they would let it go through this time. And when we saw last week Disrupt Gaming, why did they lose their match versus Toon Squad? A lot of people will tell you it's because they lost the ban phase. They went to Bank. They haven't really played Bank before. It was an interesting decision. Even in the interview, Toon Squad said, like, we were surprised they let us go to Bank. They haven't played Bank. We won that pretty nicely. They didn't seem super focused on this map. They didn't seem super comfortable on it. Have DG played themselves again on the map ban phase? That would be the question that I would have for them, because this is the second week in a row where they're coming into a match that they should be the favorites in, but they go to an interesting map and it doesn't work out for them. At least hasn't worked out so far. Don't get me wrong, still plenty of rounds for them to claw back, but they're going to need to go all the way to round number 12 if they want to get this win. Still very possible, and Mo's going to make that even more likely. Spades waking up 2, get the F2, get the kill onto Tuffy, and Carnage fell right before him. So that leaves just 3 defenders left to try to hold things down here on this top stairs bomb site, sorry, of Trophy Statuary. And so with a minute and a half still to go in this round, they're looking pretty good to try to take it.
Beastly was ready to bandit trick, but he actually puts the batteries down and just leaves them here on this wall, even though the Thatcher is still on the board, so that tells me that he wants to play off of the position a little bit and rotate around. Kali actually pushes through Bathroom as a Mira, the 3 armor Mira, going for a flank, and he manages to get the second one too, killing Evil Waffle off the back, and that is the diffuser down as well. So 1 minute left on the clock, and nobody on Disrupt is toward that side of the map. Spades is going to have to go all the way back outside, rappel up the side of the building, take the diffuser. He has to cross this window too, and Kali is watching it, but Yeti actually takes him out, and that makes it safe for him to go get the diffuser as well, which is huge. So Spades picks it back up, but it is still a 3-on-2. Euphoria and Beastly are certainly capable of clutching this out as Beastly trades a couple of shots back and forth near Bathroom. He doesn't want to give that position up because it gives the attackers so much room to rotate around. Diffuser starts going down as Spades. It doesn't seem to be contested. C4 goes out. Euphoria picks off one. C4 does not land, and we are down to a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 and 1v1 as Mo actually trades it out. A headshot onto Euphoria, and Beastly will pick up the last kill of the round, as well as Arbad continues their streak, continuing to win this map over and over.
I'm amazed that they were able to clutch that game back, because that was not looking good for them. They started off with great play coming from Kali, and so when he was able to do that, I mean, get 2 good rounds and down the diffuser, that's when you're starting to get a little bit worried over on the side of Disrupt Gaming, because Kali, again, he's a player who can get a lot of kills. He's a player who can jump in and have those 1v4 rounds or have those ace rounds, but That time he didn't need to, right? Yeah, he shut him down, and then after that, the team was able to follow up. And so that's again going back to this team play, this team first mentality that Arbad seems to have, and this real strength of coordination that they like to play with. They're going back to Living Room Library though, and this is the only bomb site they've lost whilst on defense.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are forced to go to this map as they have won the last 2 in a row on the top floor. But they will be bringing a mirror this time around, so a little bit of a switch compared to last time. However, it seems like Disrupt are going for a switch as well as they bring a Glaz. We have not seen a lot of Glaz this map so far, which is a little bit surprising considering how you can potentially open up some long sightlines that you can cover with the smoke grenade. So it's interesting to see it pulled out now. I think it's actually going to be pretty effective as well, especially seeing as Yeti will be the one taking that mantle. He's been fragging out quite a bit throughout the entire season, and this map is definitely not an exception, sitting at 7 kills, which isn't a huge amount, but if you take out the rounds where Disrupt got completely dismantled by Arbad, 7 kills is actually pretty decent.
Honestly, yeah. He's been doing really good this round. There were a couple, of course, where just his whole team wasn't looking good, but I'm interested to see how he actually plays on the Glaz, because I can't think of any times where we've seen him playing on this operator before. So again, it'll be interesting to see. It's sort of that operator where you kind of have it or you don't, right? Some players are just crazy on him and they just hit every shot, and then some players just have no idea how to play him. It's totally different from a lot of the other operators, right? So a lot of people struggle with it, and even the guys who don't struggle, even the best Glazes in the game, they have off days, and you just can't play Glaz if you have it on an off day. So yeah, no, Yeti, this will be an interesting test for him, and one where he must succeed if he wants his team to be able to get this win. Again, for Disrupt Gaming, there's nothing technically, like, solidified on the line here. No matter what happens in this matchup, their result is still uncertain, but they are so close to making playoffs. If they win this matchup, it is going to take a miracle if they're going to lose it, basically. But a loss here keeps it very competitive, the race between them and Toon Squad and Vicious Gaming and Sonics and everybody who's still trying to get in here. Even Arbad and Elevate still not out of it yet. So a lot of competition, and we've yet to see how this match turns out. Arbad, of course, need this win. They need just 1 round in the next 3 if they want to keep themselves alive in Challenger League season number 9.
Last week picking Bank when they weren't very experienced on it, this week picking Villa. It is definitely possible that Disrupt might be trying to practice for playoffs as well, but you know, they haven't got themselves locked in yet, so this might be a little bit too early for them to pull anything like that. And on top of that, you do still want to make sure you have good seeding, because the first seed, of course, is Organized Chaos, and if they look back on form, you don't want to face them. Euphoria gets the first pick onto Yeti, however, that's a headshot, and that takes down the Glaz. So unfortunately, he's not really going to be doing much work on here so far. Modiga trades it back, however. Stuffy gets headshot inside of Vault. And Vault actually seems like it was left soft, which is a very strange decision, considering it gives the attackers so much room to move around. Modiga gets another headshot onto Kali. Modiga with a third! 3 headshots on the side of him. And he will be able to take his team close to victory.
Yeah, no, at 3K, he's been having a hell of a game. We haven't really mentioned it too much, but he has been top of the scoreboard. He was at 12 for this round, puts him at 15 now. So he's looking to get his 4th one of the round. He's so close, just daring Beastly. Come on, peek me. I believe that's Beastly. It might be Carnage on the other side of things, but whoever it is saying, please peek me. It looks like he will, but just poor timing from Mo. He's going to have to get off of that, and so he's been having a really great game. Gonna have to deal with some goo mines in his feet, and he's got to start getting going. There's only 10 seconds left to go in this round. Evil Waffle also needs to start with this, and the gas canisters are being used. Beastly with a shotgun in a great position will start to pump some shots in the enemy team, but no, Mo with the knife, but it'll be Reed who kills his own teammate. Oh, Evil Waffle goes down, and Carnage kills Mo. That's the game. What a way to end it. Arbad shut down the 2nd seeded team in Challenger League Season 9 and keep their season alive, 7-3.
That was quite a game. I don't know if any of us really expected Disrupt to take a loss, and especially not one as convincing as this. Disrupt, the rounds they lost, a lot of them were very decisive rounds, like all 5 of them just getting wiped off of the face of the earth, and some of their other rounds were pretty close, but in terms of Disrupt's wins, they had one that was a good win, but the rest were slugfests, and that's definitely not something we were expecting to see. A lot of it, as we were talking about quite a bit so far, probably comes down to the map pick. But They just didn't seem very good on this map, and back to the drawing board. Honestly, a lot of their strats just didn't seem to work out. They didn't know how to attack some of the sites, it seemed like, and their defenses. If you lose your defenses on aviation or trophy, then you definitely have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, especially since it's like such a defensive sided map, right? And so if you're the defensive team and you're losing those, something's wrong, right? And so I think that's a great point. Go back to the drawing board, figure out what that was. And I don't think you could be like, maybe you could take as a grain of salt for Disrupt Gaming, right? Because this is a map that they haven't played yet this season. And so yeah, maybe they're a little bit uncomfortable with it, right? This is their first real test on the map. But again, the question is why? It might be a bit underestimating their opponent. This is just theory crafting, but perhaps they were thinking, well, our bad, they're pretty low in the standings. We should be able to sweep this team away nice and easy. Let's practice one of our bad maps on them. And that was clearly a mistake if that was their mindset, whatever their decision-making process was there. This is, well, it's not something that's going to work out for them, of course, losing this one 7-3. And so, as we've talked about, 2 weeks in a row now, they've lost, and they've lost maps where they have had difficult times, and they've been a little bit less experienced on. So, no, I think DG, they're still in the running. Don't get me wrong. Losing this map, they're not out of it. They still sit in second place, I believe. Might depend a little bit on the A-Stream matchup. That's on Rainbow Six underscore UK right now. So depending on how that one heads out, they might not end today in second place. However, regardless of where they end, they're definitely still going to be in hot contention for one of those playoff spots. And coming into last week, it's going to be so crazy as we watch these last few matchups next week.
And speaking of next week, we can actually take a peek at Disrupt's schedule. They're going to be against Vicious is their first game, so that one could potentially be a slugfest. We've seen Vicious show up recently. However, they should still be favored in that matchup. But hey, they were favored against Arbad as well. And then their second matchup next week is against Gorillas, and that one we're pretty sure Disrupt can potentially win, but Gorillas did tie against Elevate, so maybe they're on an upswing. Anything could still potentially happen. I think it's sort of safe to say that Disrupt are probably heading to playoffs, but they definitely don't want to get complacent, is absolutely the lesson you want to take from that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it all depends on how those last week games go. Probably even if they like lose to Vicious and win versus Gorillas, they should make it, although it's not for sure, right? It depends on how those other games go. Their matchups, yeah, Vicious will be a tough one because again, this is a team that is also going to be fighting tooth and nail for that final spot. Whereas Souls Gorillas, they're out of it. We heard Doodle talking about it in the interview. They kind of got nothing to lose, right? And that's sort of the mindset you're going into things, right? If you've lost enough games where you're mathematically eliminated, there's no difference between 5th place and 8th place in Challenger League, right? Either way, you're getting relegated. And so it's a very tough system. And it can lead to situations where you're on week 6 or so, and as a team, you know that, hey, there's nothing that we can do in this situation. So what can we do? I mean, we can practice. We can continue working on ourselves. We can basically just use these as successful scrims and, just train up the best that we can and play spoiler. Why not? It's always fun to ruin other people's dreams, isn't it?
Yeah, a team with nothing to lose is definitely one that you want to watch out for, because they could pull anything out of their hats. It's pretty crazy. We've seen some interesting maps, interesting sites, interesting strats, and if there's any team that can catch you off guard, it's one at the bottom of the standings.
Oh, for sure. We are going to talk to Carnage soon as we have this all set up. So that's what we're waiting for. And then we will let you go for the night. We had 4 really great games going through this. Are we ready for this interview, though? I'm not sure on this one. Hello, Carnage?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yep,
can.
we hear you.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How about you? You just won your matchup.
Oh, I feel great. It was it was a barn burner towards the end, but feels good.
How
So,
surprised are you to go to Villa? Yeah, I think that's probably what you were going to ask. Too.
yeah.
So the last 2 maps were Coast and Villa, and we noticed DG hasn't played it all season. We played them in USN on it, and we've been prepping all week. We knew like the 5 maps or 4 maps that we play this week, and we were pretty confident on Villa. So it was between Coast or Villa. We already played these guys on Coast, so we figured, they might be counter strategy or would not have it. So we were like, we're just gonna go to Villa, play our game.
Fair enough. I'm
Basically,
assuming this, yeah, this is a map that you've prepped for, I'm sure. But it hasn't. It's not one that you guys have played all season. It's not one they've played all season. So a lot of lack of information, and maybe you guys came out on top in terms of the ban phase. But either way, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the season as a whole because I believe you can. It's kind of messy, right? But I believe you
it's
guys.
possible. It's
I believe it's
possible.
possible. Yes, I think you're
Yes.
still in it. It's going to be tough, especially with that
Yeah.
loss early on. You're going to
Hmm.
need to get a little bit lucky. But with
Yeah.
this win, you definitely still have a chance of making it in. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about that as a team? Is it still your goal to get in? Do you feel like, okay, we're doing this, we're still going to win every single matchup? Or are you sort of thinking, is it
Abs-
demoralizing at all?
no, absolutely. We're gonna go next week. We're gonna practice how we practice, and we are expecting to win. We're gonna we're gonna give ourselves the best shot at it as much as we can. Like we're not giving up. So as evident to like last week, like everybody was calling us, we might not deserve it or whatever the case may be, but we're proving that when we make the right decisions in situations, we're a lethal team. And I think that goes to show versus today disrupts the top two team and kind of handed it to them, And those guys are that team right there. They're a great team. It was just we prepped and we knew what we were doing. So and as far as playoffs, excuse me, like we're really gonna keep trying. Next week we play Skilla and VG, I believe, and we're gonna
Mhm.
try to win those out and give ourselves the best shot at it. To be honest.
That's perfect. That's the mentality you want to have,
Yeah.
because give yourself the best opportunity. Maybe it'll happen, right?
Trust me,
Certainly
like
not out of reach.
people probably thought we were gonna give up when we were literally at the bottom with three ties. You know what I mean? Like, and those ties from back, the beginning of the season could have went either way. It
I
just
know
so
it.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff
it's
happened.
really unlucky looking at your past history, right? I mean, you had what
Hmm.
5 games in a row where you either tied or lost 5-7. I mean, that must have
Yes.
sucked
Oh,
so
it's
bad.
so bad. Yes. If we clutched up at the beginning, oh my god, I think we'd be a top three team easily. You
Yeah,
know?
there's I think it was beginning of last week, before your week where you won twice. Yeah, so beginning of last week, I ran the math. I'm like, if you had won just I think 8 more rounds instead of being dead last, you'd be in second place or something. So it's crazy how much just those last rounds can really have a huge impact on the season. And so, well, I mean,
Yeah.
either way, it is what it is, right?
Absolutely. We're gonna keep fighting. Trust me.
Let's talk a little bit about your team in terms of play style, in terms of strength. We see a
Sure.
lot in Challenger League right now. Different teams have different strengths. Some teams we see are very frag heavy, some teams are very strat heavy, coordination heavy. Where do you see your team in terms of your strengths, and what do you think you guys need to work on in this last week of Challenger League and perhaps playoffs?
So to be honest, like I think we're a little bit of both in terms of strat and gun skill. I really think like gun skill, we are top three. Like Euphoria is disgusting. Tuffy is disgusting. Beastly, like he IGLs as long as like Callie and me make in-game decisions, like and me, like I don't know. I feel confident. Any team I play against, I feel confident. I feel like the team in general, like we have good strats, maybe not as elite as the others in terms of like I don't know Sonics or whatever you want to say, but
Mm-hmm.
like we have a fair set of strats, and we don't rely on our guns because we drone heavy. We play people behind our drone, so like we're very strategized. So,
It
but
seemed like the coordination was really there this game.
yeah, we're very coordinated. Like we're very good on attack. It's just defense these days is like it's rough because attackers they have like like in terms of guns they have the advantage. So sometimes like on long like maps like Villa, like if they're on the end of 90 and like I'm Jaeger, like they're gonna have that advantage. You know what I mean? So it's just things like that. We if we clutch up on defense, we're really we fine on attack to say the least.
All right. Well, it's getting a little late here. I'm going to let you go. Congratulations on the win today, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
So that was Carnage from Arbad with the interview, and always lovely talking to him. That's going to be the end of our night tonight. Of course, Azaraki, thank you so much for cast with me. You have anything to say before we close things down for the night?
Uh, my Twitter's at Azaraki Dragon. That's about it. Matches were really good. Really nice to cast my first Challenger League match or set of matches, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun.
That's awesome here. I think it was a great cast between you and I, and hopefully the viewers think the same. That's going to be it from us, though. Big shout out to Keg on the observation and Crater with the production. Shout out, give those guys some love in the chat because they really don't get the credit that they deserve. Otherwise, though, that's going to be it from us. My name's been Cornpop. I've been casting, of course, with Azaraki, and we will see you next week for the final play day of Challenger League.